Oh, and g'day guys, how we doing? Oh, there we go. Sitting down here. Woo. Spill a bit on your hands, it's always interesting. Guys, normally we have a piece of artwork here, but today, well, this morning we did, so I guess it's not today. This afternoon, I want to try something a little bit different. And in my email box, and Instagram DMs and TikTok DMs, there's questions that are recurring. And so I thought the best way to help with this is to talk about them here and spill coffee on myself. Now, cheers, Jay Smith. Guys, what I will say, g'day, Steve, is even though I've got these questions that I've copy and pasted to do with you guys, you can also ask questions here, obviously. We've got 45 minutes. If we need longer, we can schedule the next time we do this for longer, but I think 45 minutes, I think we can do the bulk of it in this time. I was trying to get it a bit frisky, and I added some clover honey to it, and I'm not sure if I improved it. It was already caramel instant coffee, Moccona, and the sweet on sweet isn't doing it for me. But we're here now, so it'll be okay. G'day, Birdie. How we doing? Welcome on in. And, ooh, not Ronaldo. Who are you then? Okay. So, on the second phone here, first question we want to talk about. This is a good question. All right. This wasn't actually a question from a collector. This was a question from an artist who was having a hard time building trust with collectors. So how do new collectors, specifically new collectors, avoid pitfalls? And when we say that, maybe you look on Instagram and you see someone's art that you like. It can be scary to go from, hey, I like their art on a TikTok video, to I'm going to own a piece of that art. And because usually people you buy artwork from can be from all over the world. And the people whose artwork, weirdly, we typically like the most are the ones who are small, you know, in the middle of nowhere people making something quite unique. And they can be quite hard to get in touch with. So what do you do? And this was from a collector who, not a collector, a artist who was saying, how do I build trust with the audience? There's two things you do, or that I think are fantastic to do. The first one is show the audience how it happens. So just like on this channel where we talk about how they get boxed, how they get shipped, how they get made, how they get framed, understanding the whole process and being more intimate with that process allows the collector to know, okay, if I was to buy at whatever price, if I was to buy, this is the process or the journey I would be going on. It's not like walking into a dark room. You know what's in there, and that's really important. And then the second thing I'd say with that is, from a collector point of view or a person making it point of view, keep the collector informed. That's not, a lot of the time you think about this as something that you do for the collector. I'm at this stage, I'm at that stage. It's not just for the collector, it's for you too. If you actually are speaking to the person who is going to be owning the picture in their home, and definitely being able to speak and say, hey, I'm at this stage, I'm feeling this way. Currently, I'm loving the pinks and the reds, I want to add more blues. Having those conversations, meaningful conversations with collectors, provides them with confidence that you're thinking about it and allows them to give feedback too. So, essentially, the answer to that one, I went for a long-winded answer, but it's just open transparency. We're all human, and if you feel like the process is real, open, intimate, and you feel like if you're a part of it, you know what's going to happen, primo. I played chess in high school. That was, do I play any sports? I used to snowboard in high school. I used to do some rock climbing in high school. I was okay at both those things. Chess was considered a sport. It still is. And so I did that in high school. I was terrible at that. I was actually worse at chess than rock climbing. Go figure. And I love field hockey. Field hockey's fun. We did a bit of roller hockey, which is ice hockey on roller skates. Also fun. Okay, sorry. This one here is a bit generic, but we've been asked a lot about the garden piece, the dahlia flowers. So with the dahlia flowers, a lot of people have been asking, why are you using so much texture? Why is it so different? What's the inspiration? Thanks, Ben. Happy Father's Day to you too. And in that piece, it is very unique because we don't use that much texture normally. This is a very, very out the gate, different piece. Why did the texture get so much? I got excited. That'd be the best way to put it. I felt like I hadn't done thick texture in a while. I felt like it may have been limiting the current works if I didn't expand out from the canvas a bit. And so I bought a bunch of modeling compounds, fresh, and I wanted to do something that would represent it the best. And I felt like flowers in a garden with their round, voluminous style, it would just make them all punch out really strong and be a meaningful picture. So basically it was filling a need that was currently empty in me. I felt like that was an important piece to do. And why that flower picture? Abundant color. Essentially, if I was going to do flowers, I didn't want to paint stems and background. I just wanted to do flowers. And so when you look at the picture, I think we're currently calling it chaotic dahlias, but when you look at that picture, you just see pow, border to border flowers. There's a couple of little red, green dots, which insinuate, you know, a petal, sorry, not a petal, a leaf here and there, but the entirety of it is literally just flowers. So it's a very potent, pure work in that regard. There, apart from that, the purity and colour of flowers coming through with bold, punching texture, there's no underlying, deep, seething meaning. But sometimes, pure feeling is a pretty deep meaning. Thanks, LJ. Yes, this is New Zealand. We're going through a few questions today. We've got 45 minutes. I've used up 11 of them yarning, and so we're going to keep ticking through them and see if we can't get through. I've got 8 here. If you've got questions, fire them through too. Normally we're painting, but I thought just to actually do some eye-to-eye contact and without constantly being distracted by an original piece, maybe we could do some talking like this. And if this works for anyone, if these answers help you, please tell me so I know that actually we're on the right track. And if we're on the right track, we'll do more of stuff like this. Now, no matter where we go or what we do, we'll never stop making live originals. That'll always be a thing. But being able to come here and talk more deeply about these questions and insecurities and expose certain things, that's a really, really powerful thing. I will say with an artist I was talking to recently, she was going through a block, and I said, look, rather than me say, hey, tell me what's wrong with you, I said, how about I just tell you all of my insecurities, all of my fears, and all of my, you know, that little voice inside your brain that you wish would shut up. What if I just tell you all of that? And then when you feel confident, you can open up. And so in a way, that's what this is. If I feel like it'll help, I'll just share everything. I think that's the best way to go. Okay. What influenced your choice on colours? This one comes up a lot. So what influences my choice on colours? I freaking love colour. If it wasn't for colour, I wouldn't paint. I don't think I do paintings in black and white. Colour inspires the entire process from start to finish. It gets me in front of the canvas. It keeps me in front of the canvas. I love pure colour. You'll notice most of the colours that I use come straight from the tube. I mix them with mediums, but I don't normally mix them in different gradients on the surface. It's always raw colour. And that's because when we talk about paint, I'm always trying to get down to what's primal and raw. What's at the crux? What is as rudimentary as we can get? And usually that's just raw turquoise, raw ultramarine, raw crimson, raw scarlet, raw yellow, you know, so that's where that passion comes from. But in terms of the choice of colours, you'll notice, especially last year, I was hugely lenient towards magenta and pink. It was overloaded in works, and yes, Jay's noticed. So guys, I've uploaded 35 pictures, or 34, one's just my face, but 35 pictures of all the originals. Well, not all, it's about just over half the originals of the last 18 months. Now, if you want to talk to a specific work, you can just grab one of these pictures and chuck it up there, and I can talk directly to that work. Now, we can't put up every original. There's a limit of 35 emojis that I can add, but I can scroll through them piece by piece. So if there's certain ones you like, there's certain ones that haven't become prints yet. If you look down here, this one here on the far side, that is a city different. That one's Santa Fe, a city different. That one's sold out, so we can't make more of those. These three here, a portrait. This one won't get released as prints without the collector's permission. These two here, again, same story. We treat dogs similar to family members. Although I can just release the prints, I'll talk with the collector first and discuss whether he's comfortable with his companion coming out as prints. But those are two amazing show dogs. No painting today. No. We will be bringing paintings back, guys. But today, well, this afternoon, we'll just be talking. So if you've got questions, you can throw them in. And I'm going to go through these questions here. Now, speaking of colours, one of the ways I calibrate myself with colour is, and you may have seen it, and some artists get so angry at me, absolutely furious. If you've looked through the comment sections of the ones where I'm wearing the coloured sunglasses, people get outraged. Now, the reason you wear coloured sunglasses is if I put a yellow hue over everything, they suspect that Van Gogh actually got poisoned by chemicals and things in the paint, that actually he could only see the colour yellow, and that inspired the sunflower series. Now, if you put on yellow sunglasses and the world becomes yellow, you see like Van Gogh, and colours, your blues and your yellows, your blues and your reds become less prominent, and you start looking at every colour with a tint of yellow and making your pictures like that. Now, that's why in certain cases I wear pink sunglasses. That's why in certain cases I've worn blue before and yellow. Usually the primary colours are the best. And if you do go for blue, don't go for deep blue. That's one thing I'll say. Go for a cyan. So you can get those really, really blue glasses. It's too much. Everything in the picture goes too dark. The whole picture looks depressed. But if you get yourself some light blue glasses, baby blue cyan, then the picture gets that beautiful uplifting depth. And I love that. I'm into that. So that's where the coloured sunglasses come from. Now, there is no particular pair to get. Cheap is better. As long as they have the coloured lenses, you can manipulate your perspective on colour through them. So I will do a reel or a proper conversation on glasses one day, and actually we'll paint pictures wearing the glasses, and I'll show you what I mean. But basically for now, the best trial case you can look at is Van Gogh probably could only see yellow for a period of his life, and that's why those sunflowers are so vividly yellow, or were before the paint wilted. Another story. Okay, this one here. So about half the collectors who I work with, it's their first time purchasing artwork. And I've sort of put this question together myself from a multitude of questions from people. But the question I've sort of formulated here, and it's an important one because this affects all of us, is well, I've just lost it. I had it right here in front of me. How should we approach purchasing our first piece of art? This is such an amazing question. Thanks, Aggie. I appreciate that. Your first piece of art, it's a fun thing for starters, and once you start, you won't stop. You'll just start buying pieces. It's the best feeling. But a lot of the time we say two things. We say, I'm not going to buy a piece because I don't understand art. I don't understand my tastes enough. And please don't do that, because if you like a piece, that is your taste. That's okay. That's like saying, I'm not going to have lunch because I haven't fully developed my palate yet. What? Have lunch. You'll feel great. So as you purchase art, your taste will develop. And as it develops, you'll know what you like and what you don't like. But the second, and this leads into it, the second worst thing we can do is suddenly saying, no, I listen to what people write in books and what the experts and the curators and the museums, and the galleries say. They tell me what's good and I buy that. that most of the time they might be right, but to say that someone else can better understand your feelings than you is a very, very dangerous road to go down. At the end of the day, no matter how smart someone is or how informed they are, your feelings are your own. And when you like a piece of artwork, you need to develop the confidence to accept that you like it. I think we push that feeling down deep and go, oh, actually, but no. You're allowed to like it. You don't have to buy it. You're allowed to like it. That's a nice thing. But and the other thing too is art doesn't need to be fancy stuff that's framed, that ships overseas in giant crates, that has endless textures and layers and colors in it. Like this is a form of art, definitely. But art can be as simple as a painted rock at a farmer's market. If it brings you joy, it is invaluable. Bring it into your life. And a lot of the time we can go around the world and see wonderful art everywhere we go, and at farmers markets and in town, and then we get home and our house is just white and there's nothing in it bringing joy into our lives. And you think, oh, that's okay, I'll go out and see some more art tomorrow. Yeah, but if you just got some things to go on your walls, to fill your space, to make it something special, that picture, although, if you say, it's still hypothetical, say you paid $50 for a painted rock at the farmer's market and it went outside your front door, it had a cute little daisy painted on it, and it just sat there. Would that rock, on the first day it was there? No. It probably didn't bring you $50 of joy. But each day when you walked past it, noticed it, remembered where you got it from, remembered that day, how good the coffee was at the farmer's market, the walk you went around with your partner, the smiles you had, the day it was, sunny, whatever, or maybe the rock was just pretty and you walk past it, and that little moment's worth 5 cents. Definitely. How many times are you going to walk past that rock? Well, if it stays there for 3 years, you're going to walk past it at least 1,000 times. Now the amount of little 20-cent integrals adds up, and all of a sudden, that rock has brought far more joy to your life than the $50 you paid for it. Now, I'm not saying go and buy every painted rock for $50, but I'm saying when you like art, pursue that. Trust your taste. Like, your taste will develop. You can trust it right now, and you can also trust that in 10 years' time, it'll be different. And that's totally okay. But sitting there not buying art and not filling your home with love is, in my mind, it can be a mistake. So don't do that to yourself, because everyone who collects art, it's kind of like golf. You think, God, I wish I started sooner. I wish I was filling my walls and home with beauty sooner, because it makes me feel alive. A song gives euphoria for one moment. It gives you that joy, and you're in the car belting out Little World of Our Own, with the windows down if you're that bold, but up, and you're just singing as loud as you can, Westlife or whatever, and it's amazing. A piece of artwork doesn't bring that same euphoric joy in a singular moment. It gives a little bit of that joy every single moment for the next 20 years. And so actually, passively, a piece of art will outcompete a song, but it needs time. And so the sooner you bring it into your home to start feeding you that daily passive joy, the better off you'll be. That's what I reckon. And let's have a little look-see here at the next question. What do you do for an active duty for society? Good question. And actually, that's the reason why I didn't paint for a really long time, because I felt like I could serve society in better ways if I worked 9-to-5 jobs, if I did, a corporate job, if I did this, I did that. I believed that art was a selfish pursuit, and actually, it took me a decade to come around to the idea that the best way I could serve society is to produce art and to bring that happiness into the world, and that there's actually a value in that. And I will say this, I'm still heavily insecure about that. Art's my full-time job. It's all I do. And I'm heavily insecure about it in the way that one of the things I do to look after myself and to actually allow myself to see value in the art, even when sometimes maybe I can't, is what I do is every single piece of work I make, every commission, donates a portion of itself to a chosen charity. So I'll work with the collector, we'll choose a charity, we'll make the donation, and the reason why that happens, yes, donating's fantastic. It helps everything. Yeah, I get that. That's important, and that's probably the duty you're talking about. But actually, I need to do that. And the reason I need to do that is if that happens, then when I'm painting it and those intrusive thoughts start creeping in, I can quell them, saying that every single time this paintbrush touches this canvas, it is literally, not just possibly helping society, but literally putting money into the hands of people making a difference in society. So I need that thought. I need to know that's the case, because that empowers me while I'm making the picture. Because if you don't have intrusive thoughts that start beating you up, that, are you doing the right thing? Is the paint landing right? Are you wasting your time? You've been out here for a whole day. Have you done enough? If you can stand in front of your canvas and say, if I can make this happen, I'm going to get X amount of money, and it's going to go to Youthline, it's going to go to crisis services, it's going to go to counsellors in high schools that will, help young men and women, find who they are. This painting, if I can do it, will literally save a life. That's powerful. And if you're wondering with your own art and you're struggling with meaning and you're struggling to, am I doing the right thing? Is this a selfish pursuit? If you ask yourself the question, is this a selfish pursuit? Try giving away all the money you make from a commission, every last dime of it. Try getting a job for a period, or having another source of income, and then doing a commission for someone, and every penny you make past your cost, donate it, and sit with that feeling. Sit with that feeling, how it feels to know that that piece you made, everything you put into it, that was covered obviously, but it went into someone else's life and now it's making them happy, and every penny past that is now benefiting society. That's powerful, guys. Now, you can't do that with every piece of work. You'll burn out, you'll have nothing left, but you can still give a small portion so that effect takes place long term. And that's where that portion sits. You can figure that out for yourself, but I find that's a really helpful way. A really helpful way. Good question. Good question. Okay. That actually answered one of these other ones here. How do, sorry, I keep losing these things. Any tips for artists struggling with self-doubt? This is a massive one. I guess they come to me and say, people will say, Seb, you seem to have a lot of confidence. I love the art. How did you get so much confidence? Or how do you have so much confidence in your art? I'm struggling with doubt. And I think if you watched even 3 hours worth of streams, you would definitely see how I overshare. You would see the insecurities, you would see the things I battle with, because we delve into that, we discuss that. And to feel like when you see someone else and say, they don't have those things. No, they don't have those things. Only I have those things. If I was good at art, I wouldn't feel this way. Nah, that's not the case. If you struggle with artist blocks, everyone does. Artist blocks, imposter syndrome, insecurities, whatever you might have, they don't go away the bigger you get. That's still part of, they weren't there because you weren't enough. And then you become an artist and you'll escape these things. They're there because they're part of who you are, and you need to figure out how to dance with them, address them, and be yourself while you're an artist. And that's okay, But I think we get the idea in our heads that every negative feeling or these intrusive thoughts that we could have, they're the reasons we're not who we want to be. And they're actually just our dance partners. You can't just be happy all the time. You dance. Some days are tougher than others. Some days are more exciting than others. Some days are super fun, and some days they'll work. And it's healthy to go on that journey. But if you understand it, and you understand you to do that, then you'll have more fun on it, even when it's harder. Tough times are tough when you feel like they're never going to end. Tough times are easy when you think, you know what, I can do this. It's 5 more days, it's 4 more months, it's 2 more years, whatever, I can do this. Tough times don't last. All right, what are some key turning points? So I talk about this a lot in the stream. And I love this because if we look at this picture that Jay Smith's just thrown up here, we can see a bunch of the new art style. This is my art to a T. all these pictures here, 101. But when I was painting back in high school and early university, I didn't paint for me. I painted what I thought would make other people happy, and the art was less because of it. And that was because I was young and I was insecure. And so what I was doing was I was looking around like a child, looking at the world around me going, what can I do to make everyone happy? And I'm looking around and going, if I make art like this, hopefully you'll like me. Hopefully you'll like this. And then, yeah, they were okay with it. People didn't mind it. But only once I managed to spend some time living life and I came back to art and I sat there with it and I thought, what if I express myself through this? Instead of this being something I try and use to, find acceptance, what if I just make it the way my heart wants to make it? And the moment I did that and started to really express myself through the art and not care about the result or what people thought, but just made art, suddenly it attracted more people than it ever had before. And my friends and family weren't going, oh, that's nice. They were like, I see you in this. I feel you in this. This is good. I like this. And that was a new experience for me to realize, and that was a turning point for me to realize that my friends, the people who loved me, would be happier with me if I made art the way I wanted to make it. They could see my own light shining and they loved it more. So that was a massive, massive turning point, because I always thought that I knew better. I always was arrogant enough to think that I knew better and I knew what other people wanted from me. And I didn't. I had no idea. All anyone who loved me wanted was for me to make art that I was truly happy with. And once you realize that as a creator, as a writer, musician, as an artist, people who love you just want to see you do what you like to do in that sphere. I don't want to hear a musician who makes music that he thinks I want to hear. I want to hear music from the heart. I want to hear what he or she has to actually sing about, his story, her story, how he or she feels in that moment, I want to hear that. And I think that's why, we weren't all addicted to country music, but then all of a sudden Richmond, north of Richmond, hits the top of the charts because there was a guy, not that he was, they're like, oh, he's singing to the people. No, he was a guy who suddenly sang from the heart, and we all felt it. And that's what we're talking about here. And so, be yourself, sing your song, figuratively speaking. If you're a terrible singer like me, keep it to the poor people who watch the live and in the shower. Yeah. Sorry to everyone who has to put up with all my singing in the live. I get excited and I can't play real music because there's copyright rules, and when I do play music, I use that as a cloaking mechanism not to talk, and I think that's not constructive. I don't think you can fully understand the artwork, and I don't think you can fully get the best benefit out of it if you're an artist or a creative from the live session if I'm just playing Spice Girls in the background. I actually need to come out of my shell and talk to you guys and describe to you what we're doing, describe to you how I'm feeling, describe to you what the journey is going to be, and just be candid in the moment with you. But especially when I first started streaming, music was a defense mechanism to actually hide from doing that. And that was a tough moment where I turned off the music to say, no, the music's fun, but it's taking away from the connection. And fundamentally, everything I do with art, if art didn't connect us, I'm not sure. I mean, the connection and colour are my two big C's, connection and colour. If I didn't have those two, I don't know what my painting career would be. That's the end of my caramel honey coffee. Ridiculously sweet, but pretty yummy. Now, I've got 11 more minutes, guys. Oh, I love this. Okay, just quickly in these pictures here. This picture here is from 2021. It's an amazing piece. I love this portrait, and we actually need to start doing more portraits like this, 20-layered giant portraits. This one here is one of the only oil paintings in existence that I've made that's overseas. There's lots of oil paintings in New Zealand. This oil painting is overseas. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Jay. So this is Ernest Hemingway. Love this piece. Single layer, Oil painting, love it to bits. This one here, if you see this one, this is two gentlemen at their wedding, and this one here, I reckon out of all the paintings I've done, nothing depicts love like this one. And then Alexander the Great, huge fan of this one. That's in Texas now. Duck dive, that's literally 40 minutes from here in that direction. It's got a giant double white frame on it. It's really cool actually. It's in the living room. And this is Jim. Jim was one of the first people who started tagging me on things on Instagram. His tags showed me how to go, when you get a story tag and you have to reshare it, I learned how to do that through Jim. you think I'm still learning how to use social media, but that was so funny because Jim was tagging me, because he was watching some of the content and things, and I was like, how do I reshare it on my story, but then write my own little thing underneath it so we can talk? Ronald, what's your favorite artwork that you've made, and where's the best place to look for a quick broad look? Okay, so Ronald, the best place, I'll go from back to front. The best place to get a big broad look at all the art is go to my website, link in the bio, and just go through the prints. Now, the greatest hits, the ones that have sold out back in 2022 and things, they're there, so you can see all the prints. And there's ones that are available and ones that are sold out, but you can see not all the art, but like you're saying, you can get a snapshot. There's 35 pieces up there. So from there you can get an idea of, I can see how this guy paints. And one thing that I need to do, I've kept a few of the abstract ones away from you guys. That's about to change. We're gonna have some abstract ones coming out. We're gonna have the two sheep coming out. We're gonna have the chaotic dahlias coming out. And instead of always having these prints, which are very much like identifying themselves around something, this is an elephant, this is a surfer, this is a person. Instead, it'll be like, this is just fun, this is just color. And like, that came out of a need that I learned about myself because I was putting up prints in my own home. I keep a couple around. I keep Africa, Zambezi. Oh no, I don't have a Zambezi river. That infuriates me. I wish I got one of those. It was only 10 and I missed out. There's a Mahalo, there is a Land Meets Sea, there's a couple of them, and I moved them around. But I needed an abstract, colourful one, and I'm like, I'm the colour guy. I don't have an abstract, colourful piece to go on the spot. I'm looking for a piece of artwork that I should have made, and I haven't got. And I'm sitting there tapping my forehead going, are you kidding me, Seb? And that's almost partly where Chaotic Dahlias came from. It's filling a need that I saw in my own home that I was like, I need a print to go on this wall here, and I don't have the colours that I wanted to put in this space. So Chaotic Dahlias fills that space. And if you are after a painting or a print, which is literally just the love of colour, that's going to be Chaotic Dahlias. I'll put the whole blurb in with it, but that's the plan. Carl, the swim was so cold. It was absolutely outrageously cold. So guys, if you missed it, this morning I was painting by the pool, which I'm nearby at the moment actually, and I had a thing saying, if you donate a dolphin, I'll take a dip. And that was the most outrageous thing to say, because then 5 minutes into the live, it was a 90-minute live, a person comes in and donates a dolphin. And I'm like, oh, God. And then I dived in, and then I was just wet. I was just wet for like 80 minutes. Trying to paint, just dripping wet. Funny, and I learnt my lesson. I deserved that. That was, I was like, no one, I'll be safe here. It'll be tantalizing, but no one will do it. Lesson learned. Mimtiz, yes, we do. So at the moment, there's no originals available, team. I've got 2 in my house, going to be 3, but I like to keep a few with me because they do give joy and they give that to me. But if I sell them out completely, then there's nothing in my own life that's, you know, fulfilling me inside my own home. So only when we get the collection up to 6 or so in my private collection, then we'll open up with a few originals, but we haven't had that chance yet. When we do, they'll just be on the website. It'll say prints, originals, commissions, but right now it just says commissions and prints. So if you like some of the old pieces we've worked on, they're there as prints. I'd love for you to own one of them. It comes with a certificate of authenticity. It comes with a letter from me, and it's a wonderful thing. It's carbon neutral, end to end. So by buying it, it's actually perfectly balanced on the environment, and that's fun. Yeah. At least it's over now. It was so cold. I had like a 45-minute shower, just standing there going, "Come on, baby, warm me up." But anyway, so end-to-end neutral on the prints, and they're presented amazingly. I love the frames. Guys, you can definitely go out there and buy your own frame for these prints, and I encourage that if you know the vibe you're after, or if you want to find, you know, sometimes you just want to scout out your own frame from a second-hand shop or from a professional framer, and I get that. Do that. Do your thing. But if you want something really sleek, it's very hard to go past the options that I have on that website there. I absolutely love the white one. Usually the white frame absolutely slaps. If you want to make it really like on the wall, it's like, this is art. It almost acts like a mount on it. And then if you want it to seep into the environment, so I like them to pop out, but if you want it to seep in and be a part of the whole room, black. Black is fantastic. And there's an oak option. I don't normally go oak, but if you have a lot of wood accents, the oak can be pretty good. So it's there, but think of the oak as a very niche spice. It's not always for you. It's just there in case you need it. I'd say that 70% of the time you buy a print from the website, go for the black frame. No frame or black frame. And then I'd say 15% is a white, because you're like, make this pop off the wall. I want it like, because pure white stands out. And then the last little 5%, that's the oak frame. I've bought one oak frame, the New Zealand Farmer, but that was because I wanted that more raw feel. So anyway, enough on that. Do I do requests? I do. It's a lot of commissions. Everything on social media, bar Chaotic Dahlias, Red Stag, the 2 sheep that have just come out, and there's one other one. Everything else is commissioned. So basically, all the artwork, I do get DMs sometimes saying, "Is this one available?" I say, no, it's literally on a trajectory already. But that doesn't mean you can't get the art. It means the best place to go is the commission form on the website, and we can start the conversation. Because aside from a giant landscape, which may be really fun, maybe really special, or a giant portrait, it could be something that's meaningful to you. We could do your home, your grandmother, your face, something, a picture or a moment, you know. And sometimes we look at these pictures and go, "Oh, the photo's not good enough." Don't you dare do that. The photo's a parlay. It's a reference, and in that reference, it's more of a set of guidelines than actual rules. If you see a photo as rules, you'll capture nothing new in paint. But if you see a photo as inspiration and a series of guidelines to make a unique standalone painting, then it's primo. And sometimes the worst, fuzziest photos are the best to make a painting from, because even when you try and find rules, they're not there. There's not enough in the photo to carry the painting, and so you actually get to have fun and express within the artwork itself and go to new places you didn't know you'd go. I missed a few things there. Coming back up, I wish I could understand colours better. We're going to talk about that. And then how do you stay to your passion and not get bored? Okay, so I think all of us, there's 2 things there. First off, I'm going to do the passion one, and then we're going to come back to the colours. In fact, now reverse that. Colours. There are artists out there who are colourblind, and their use of colour is absolutely fascinating. If you cannot see colour, you have not a failing, but an edge. In fact, if you can't see red and green, perhaps the only thing that's holding you back is your ability to actually see color. If you saw in black and white and you had a whole spectrum of colors in front of you that all turned to white and black, then the green and the blue and the red and the yellow, all you're seeing is tone. Your work would be absolutely fascinating. See, one thing I try and do is I try and ignore the actual hue, the color in it, and focus on the tone when I'm making the art. You have that naturally. You naturally do what I try and do with effort. That gives you a step ahead. Perfect. Can't see pink and orange tones. Do you know what would be fantastically interesting? Give you a bunch of white and so get pink and orange, every tone you can't see, and then get white and black, and then put them all on a palette, or get a friend to put them on a palette, and you can't see which ones are grey, which ones are white, which ones are black, which ones are pink, which ones are orange. It's all just the same. And then paint. And then for you, you see medium grey, light grey, a little bit blacky, and a white colour. And for everyone else, we see a crazy spectrum of colours. That's absolutely stunning. And you're like, oh, that sounds coincidental. All right, then why was Beethoven real mean at music when he lost his ears? You know, he became deaf. Why was Monet real mean at painting when he went a little bit blind later in life? Monet is one of the greatest painters of all time. He's a little bit blind. Wild world out there. Coming back up, there was that question about, coming on back up, that's right, not losing passion. That is a great question. And how do you make stuff in paintings look distant? So, I'm sorry, I'm going to do the passion question next, so I want to get really emotionally invested in that question. So I'll just do the distance question. With distance, literally, if you want perfect perspectives, just go to YouTube and search how to do perspectives. There's some amazing courses up there with millions of views that'll tell you exactly how to do it. You don't need to learn craft from me. The YouTube videos outcompete any lesson you could get. They're so good, and you can keep skipping back to bits that are confusing for you if you want the craft. And if you're talking about how do I put perspective into work, I do it by completely ignoring it. When I say completely ignoring it, what I do is I actually forget there's a background and a foreground and objects in it. I just see tones and shapes and moments and strokes and meticulously just add one after the other. And every single one of them is kind of in the wrong place, kind of the wrong color. But if I do that millions of times, a million little strokes, all taken meticulously, all with the best of intentions, formulate a picture. And that's why when you watch me painting, it doesn't feel like where's this going? Where's the process? It feels chaotic because I'm literally, through millions of well-intended but wrong strokes, pulling this picture out of the ether. And it's crazy and confusing. And then all of a sudden, there's a picture there. Where'd that come from? You know, it literally feels like chaos going into entropy. But that's my style. And you'll see perspective in it sometimes, like the picture Land Meets Sea, not because I built perspective into it, but because in those chaotic little moments, it just formulated it, coincidentally. And now, paint with dancing. I will come back to that. But basically, lots of energy in your body, you can transpose it to a surface. I'm going to talk about the passion. How do you not lose it? You've been waiting really patiently for me on that one. I lose passion occasionally. It happens. And sometimes when that happens, you need to stop and you need to check yourself without getting bored. Yeah, and check yourself, because sometimes you'll start carrying baggage and you'll start making yourself, again, what you think everyone thinks you should be. And this is very, very dangerous, because once you start putting on a mask and becoming what you think everyone wants you to be, what's going to happen to you or your brand? You're going to find it exhausting. You're going to wake up in the morning and be like, I don't want to be the guy who does carpentry on YouTube, or I don't want to be the painting guy who uses colors. I just want to be me. Dangerous. Okay, so if you get that feeling of you just want to be you, or I'm bored with this character I've constructed, it's because you've constructed a character and you need to break that shell. It's not over, but you need to break out of that shell and make sure the person who's putting themselves out into the world is you. And if you're going to do things like I was talking to a guy about TikTok Live. It's a great question, actually. A bunch of people about TikTok Live and doing streaming and things like that. And they're saying, how do you go about it? How do you stay energized for it? How do you keep energy up for a few hours? And I said, by being you. If you have to be an acting character for 3 hours straight, or the old streams, 9 or 10 hours straight, you'll fail. There'll be cracks. People will see it. They'll know who you are, and you'll be tired in that process. If you be the real you, you just have to trust the crazy ones and zeros through the screen that you'll find people who speak that language with you, and you can talk with them. That is so important, guys. So important. Anyone can exist for 3 hours. Anyone can. But if I told you to exist as a persona that you'd developed to try and gain friends or make a business, it won't last. It'll be exhausting. So if you want to put yourself out there in the world, the best way to retain your energy, we always talk about, your frequency, your energy, this sort of stuff. The best way to maintain that energy, to keep your frequency, is just to be you. And you'll be like, oh, that's easy to say. Nah, just be you's 3 words, but actually, it is the hardest journey you'll go on. You'll constantly wonder, judge, consider, have to fight for it. And it's definitely a worthwhile journey to go on. Don't think you'll ever be like, I know who I am now. Blah, 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 blah. That's probably just a manic episode. If you're sitting there going, I don't quite know who I am, but I'm on a journey and I'm figuring it out, that's probably very self-aware. The answer, I don't know, when it comes to who you are, probably means you know more than you think you do. And so anyway, do your best to be the most authentic you can be. And that's the only way to maintain energy. Like, if I was on this right now, you'd quickly start to poke holes in who I am, because you'll see it. You'll see it sneaking through. You'll be like, seems like an act. You can't do this act. I can't go from doing this with you guys to then making a painting, to then liaising with clients, to then setting up a web. I can't do all that. To being a dad, to being a partner, to having a meaningful relationship with my partner and child. I can't do it. And so if I'm to make that happen, I have to be as authentic as possible with who I am through every single one of those windows. So I'm not playing this pretend game. I don't have energy in my life to play the pretend game. That's where a burnout comes in. That's where your burnout, your boredom, and your lack of passion comes from, because you were playing pretend. Don't do that to yourself. Kids don't get bored of art. They love painting because they're not pretending to try and make artwork that makes them happy. They're genuinely making artwork that makes them happy. So that's a big thing. Let me come up here a little bit. From wild brushstrokes, the quirky dance moves. That painting's important though, and the dancing's important, super important. If you don't have a bounce in your step, you won't be able to transpose vitality onto a surface. It'll be lethargic. You'll see it in the brushstrokes. They'll have more of a drag to them than a perky uplift. So at least that's just how I feel. And you remember me from Cobb & Co. That's fun. And this is the thing, guys. Cobb & Co. inspires. So Cobb & Co. was a restaurant chain that I worked for. And actually a lot of the early streams came from a Cobb & Co. storage room. And that was back when I was streaming on Reddit. I was finishing at work, and then I'd paint in the storage room just for me. I'd literally paint it, and after I was finished with it, I would paint it white. I'd paint it white. And then the next day I'd come in and paint it again. And it made me happy. I never planned to show anyone the art. I never planned to be live. I never planned to sell prints. I never planned to sell originals. I never planned for that to happen. I just did the art for me. And I would literally paint it white and it would disappear. But then my brothers said, oh, can we join in? Can we watch? We want to see what you're making. And I said, absolutely. And so I gave them the Facebook link, and I was just painting live with them. There was no one else. It was just us. And I would play music in the background. But then Facebook would ban the stream. It was just the 3 of us, but they'd ban the stream because of the music. And I'd be like, that's annoying. So I jumped on the laptop and I Googled. I was like, how to stream online for brothers, well, how to stream online without getting banned for music. And it's like, Arpan Studio, which is a Reddit one at the time. and so I was like, oh, Arpan Studio, happy days, I'll use this. And this is where the story gets really funny, guys. Really funny. I got the Arpan Studio, and they said, no, you can't stream. You need 1,000 comment karma. And I'm like, what is comment karma? What is this thing? So I needed someone, no joke, comment karma is when people like the comments you put on things. And I hadn't commented anything on Reddit, and so I had no comment karma. And I had to get 1,000 likes to actually be able to stream on Reddit. Oh, what a hurdle. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And so I literally posted on Reddit. I said, guys, I work at Cobb & Co restaurants, and this is a schnitzel. It's a dish we do here. Some people love it and some people hate it. What do you think? And it got like 600 hits. It was just, this little post went viral in New Zealand, like ish viral, with like however many comments. And I got my comment karma. And once I had the comment karma, I was able to stream live on Reddit. And that's when the funny thing happened, which was I didn't realize how private and public streams worked. I just thought if I streamed on Reddit, it would just stream on my profile, and you'd have to go to my profile to see the footage. And it turns out it goes to the world. And once it's in the world, these things gain traction. They go from the FYP pages, and they just start going. And Reddit was pushing the streams back then, so you would not just go on the on people's recommended. You'd appear on the front page of Reddit. And so anyway, from not intending to be out there in the world, I remember I looked at the camera, and it was just me and 2 other people, and I'm like, that's happy, that's fine. There's 3 of us here. And then I looked back about 45 minutes later, and there's 9 people. I don't know who 3 of these, 6 of these people are. I know 3 of them, but the other 6, I don't know. Oh well, that'll be okay. They're from some random place. They'll be in Denver, or they'll be in China or Singapore or Australia. Who cares? It's fine. And then I look back at the little phone. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't a phone. It was a laptop streaming in 720p coming through a GoPro. It was a really weirdly rigged up system. And I look back at the screen there, and there's 23,000 people watching me, and I just froze. I didn't say anything. I was blabbering, and I sort of turned around and went back to my easel, and I was like trying to paint, but I was like twitching like a robot that got water poured on its circuitry. And I like kind of glance back and grin a little bit, then go back to my painting, and then turn back and grin a little bit, and then the comment section's going like this. And people are like, is he high? He's definitely high. He's high, isn't he? He's totally high. He's high. And I'm thinking, and the only thing I squeezed out in that situation was I was like, I'm not high. I've literally felt like, have you guys seen 22 Jump Street? My name is Jeff. I was so out of my depth, and then it went. You were gonna like. I don't think I was gonna faint as such. Nah, but I was like really, really confused. Like, oh God, this is more than I bargained for. And then you kind of got used to it, and then they closed the Arpan system down, so you can't stream live on Reddit anymore. And that was when I migrated to TikTok and started from scratch. Then this whole journey comes to here now. But it started. I got my big break. I say big break. I wasn't looking for a big break, but I got onto a streaming platform to stream live through a post about a Cobb schnitzel. That was how everything began. Literally a post about a Cobb schnitzel. And if you go onto Reddit and you search Cobb schnitzel post New Zealand or anything like that, it'll show up. I had an account which was called UTU Painting at the time, and that was the one I was streaming off. It wasn't even called Sip Gower. I wasn't building a brand or anything like that. Anyway, that's how that came to pass. I don't know how we got stuck on that story. It's a long story, but basically I put up a post about a wrapped schnitzel butty, got enough likes to stream on Reddit, and then accidentally went viral. That's the story of my life. And so, like, when we talk about, a lot of people say, like, oh, how, people want to figure out how to make their artwork and things. It doesn't need to. You don't need to make a career out of selling art. You could make a career in any field you like and make art in your own time. Some of the most fun paintings I ever did was with the Arpan studio, blaring some random playlist and painting a picture that I knew I was going to destroy in 2 hours' time. There was something really raw and authentic about that. And whenever I start to lose my way, I remind myself of those times and actually sit with it and go, what was that feeling you had when you knew the art didn't matter? What was that feeling you had when all that mattered was making the art? And then at the end of the night, you were going to paint it white again. And I mean, what was that feeling? Yeah. And then once I actually started going onto social media, I had to make a promise with myself, because I've heard of all the fears of social media. It's addictive. It's this. It's that. It's blah 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 blah. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and so I said, right, I'll go on social media and we'll do this, but if I'm to do that, it has to be me, and if it doesn't go well, at least it was me. And if it does go well, I won't have to pretend I am anyone I'm not. And that started in about 2021, late 2021 to 2022. So we're going back about just over 2 years. Yeah, just over 2 years ago. And that's good, but I constantly have to go back and check myself, because you will get yourself on a trajectory where you think, I know, this is me, and you're like, actually, is it? Who are you? Are you being authentic? And that constant authenticity, you never nail it. You're just constantly wondering about it. But pontificating about what is authentic and who you are, I think, is the crux of real identity. I think we never fully nail it down. It's fluid. It's changing. It's something that you're constantly trying to grab a hold of, like a bubble. Like, you think you see it, but the moment you grab for it, it pops. That's identity. What did you start doing art? When did you start doing art? And did you always have the same technique? Poppy, that is a great question. And I'll just jump on this one just before it. Did you ever play rugby? I did not. I did not play rugby. In fact, that's because my hands are butterfingers. I can't kick balls. I can't catch balls. I can't throw balls. I was picked last for most teams in high school. And that was... I was a nerd. I liked playing card games, computer games. I liked painting. I liked hanging out in the art department. I liked barbershop quartets. I didn't play an instrument, but I liked stage shows, melodrama. This was my thing. I didn't have time for sports teams. Ooh, gross. And sorry, there was the other question there that I come back up there. So I did have a different technique in high school. You can see the way I paint now coming through it, but I think that in my late teens to early 20s, I was more constructing my style around what I thought people wanted to see. We talked about this earlier, but what I thought people wanted to see, and only once I actually started making art for me did it actually start to serve other people. And that breaks this barrier in your own mind where you actually realize, okay, my arrogance to think I understood the rest of the world and what they wanted to see was my mistake. Actually, what the world wants to see is me being me, or someone being truly authentic. And once you do that, it's like wildfire. It spreads. Once someone catches that little spark and they're being who they want to be, or they're being authentic, the people beside them start catching it, and then everyone's got it. Really, really important. But I'm going to come back to these questions and say, oh, we've gone over time. I'm going to do two more questions, and then I'm going to dash. But just going to keep coming back to that word authenticity. So basically, your hands were made to paint. This is interesting you say that. This is going to be one of the questions. Were they made to paint? I didn't get my big scholarship to head to art school was not in painting. It was in sculpture. So I had excellence in painting, but they didn't give me scholarship for it. They gave me scholarship for the arts overall, but my scholarships were in sculpture. And so when you look at my painting style, what's interesting about it is, do you see someone who is a fine art painter where you see beautiful gradients, or do the works look like they're more sculptural? Like, actually, instead of working as a painter meticulously from one side to the other, does it look more like Michelangelo, or like, a sculptor with a chisel, bashing all over the piece, pulling it out all at the same time? Now, I would say the latter, and that's where my style comes from. It's actually more of a sculptural element to it than an actual paint element to it. And I think that beautiful dance of the two, because a painting's not flat. It's actually textured, layered. It's a physical surface. To ignore the sculpture element would be to use something like a tablet, when it's exactly 2D and the layers are literally within each other, separated by ones and zeros. But in real life, no matter how thin you make the paint, even if it's egg tempera and it's wafer thin layers, you still have an element of sculpture to it. And I really lean into it. So when you watch the layers of paint go down, it's kind of like it's thick and lumpy, and I'm literally thumbing with the paintbrush, thumbing these globs, clumps, strokes down. And it actually, when you look at the artwork, you're like, I can see the physical stroke. If you can see the physical stroke, there's a sculptural element to that. There's the evidence of a performance. There's the evidence of performance art inside the art itself. And performance art is kind of sculptural. A lot of my sculpture studies were performance art styles, was, the effect of people within the art. And I think my typical style leans into that more. Did that answer it? I think so. Papa John, you have a good night. Thank you very much. Love the pic from today. Thanks, Catherine. It's been a really, really fun piece. The sheep needs more love, so it needs more colours through it. It's getting there. But super fun from yesterday as well. The big patches over the eyes and things. That was a winner of a decision. And with the chaotic dahlias, I don't know just yet. I need to sit with it for 2 or 3 days. But I think we may have actually finished that one. I was like, hey, I said in the live, I said, we're going to do a bit more here and a bit more there. After I finished, I sat there and looked at it and I thought, you're just excited. It's perfect right now. It needed that green you added. That was a great start to the live, but it's done right now. So look, let me sit with it for 3 days. I may completely change that opinion, but I think that one's finished. Right, last question. Now, unless someone wants to ask it in the space right now, we've got 97 people here. If anyone wants to ask it, you can. Otherwise, I'm going to grab one more from my list. Don't worry about the ones we missed on this list. I've got about 5 left. We can do it next time. It'll be okay. I've gone over budget on time by 25 minutes, but that's okay. Hey, you're more than welcome, Brian. Thanks for being here, you absolute legend. I hope in these disjointed, rambling answers you found something that is even remotely helpful. And if you did, the session was definitely worthwhile. So guys, if you do find something here, let me know. But otherwise, it's an absolute pleasure. And, there's our question. Poppy, in with the question. What artist do you take inspiration from? So, can I answer this in 2 parts? I'm going to give you some artists, but let me just first say, your inspiration doesn't need to come from artists. It can come from people in all different fields. People who've inspired the framing that I do were joiners and builders, because of what they talked about with their craft and how they go about actually building things and framing things and doing joinery cabinets and whatnot. Got me thinking about how I actually frame my artwork. I know that's quite technical, but your inspiration can come from anyone. And to think it can only come from artists will limit you. Because artists, although helpful because they're doing what you do, they will not teach you the world. You need to go out there and meet other people and hear different perspectives. And don't just think, if you're 30 or 25 or 18, meeting other people your age. People who are at the end of their life, people at the end of their life and at the beginning of their life understand art the best. It's weird. At these 2 points, people understand art like nothing you've ever seen. And then everything in between, we just dip. We just have this idea that we understand creativity and art when we're a child, and then we get this numb feeling. And we're like, oh, someone else understands art, not me. I couldn't paint, I do stickman. And then all of a sudden at the end of life, you suddenly, like you're leaving a game, you suddenly understand what's beautiful again, and you're willing to embrace that. So it doesn't have to be like that. You can do it the whole way through. You can actually spend your adult life seeing more creativity than you ever saw as a child or as you will as a senior. But we typically dip a little bit. So don't let that happen to you, for starters. Get inspiration from everyone, and especially seniors and children. If you want to talk about art, talk to seniors and children, because the way they talk about it comes from the heart. From the heart. And then in terms of artists inspiring, I think I'm very, very classic when it comes to this. I talk Monet, I talk Van Gogh, I talk Monet, Van Gogh, Picasso. Picasso's famous, and he had lots of quotes, so he's a very easy one to fall on. And he was very, very big on advocating for watching children paint, actually using their inspiration and their style, their freedom that they have in art, and saying that that's the key, that's what we want. That's quite a cool message to push. And then you've got Monet, who was going blind, who's partially blind, who worked with colours like no one ever could. And Monet and Van Gogh both didn't sell much art. They were fairly broke. And that's important, because we have this idea in our heads that to be an amazing artist, you have to sell artwork to the world. Everyone needs to buy your art, and that would be success. If that was the case, then we'd have to remove Monet and remove Van Gogh from our list of greatest artists of all time. They wouldn't make it. They wouldn't even get past high school art, because they never sold a piece. They were useless at selling artwork. So to connect selling intrinsically with value of the artist is a bad connection. These two things are completely separate. And you can be an artist, and you can inspire yourself, and you can love other artwork while having a full-time job. You can work as a full-time person in a lawyer office, wherever, do whatever you want. And then at night time you can pursue your art, or in the evening you can pursue your art, or on the weekend. It doesn't have to be, if you're an artist, you have to sell. This denies art to a whole facet of people who actually have expression and could explore their own creativity. And we make them feel lesser because we like to gatekeep and say, if you're not selling art and you're a full-time artist, you're not a real artist. Ooh, don't do that. Don't do that. That's like saying if you don't dance full-time and get paid, don't dance at all. Like, imagine how much fun a club would be, or a dance party would be, if everyone standing in there was like, no, I don't dance. I don't get paid to dance. I wouldn't know what moves to do. And you're like, this is so much fun, guys. I just wish everyone would loosen up and dance. Art's a bit similar like that. Love the Milford track? I absolutely love the Milford track. That is based up in Auckland, the original is. And the coolest thing about the Milford track was that I didn't realise how passionate America is about the Milford track, guys. I thought when I released prints of the Milford track, I thought that people in New Zealand who had walked it would purchase, these prints, and that was my, I'd be like, oh, okay, so I'll have this many prints go out, and New Zealanders will like them because we love Milford track. New Zealanders purchased maybe 20% of the Milford track prints. They all went to America. You guys, Americans love America, but the Americans who've travelled to New Zealand and seen the Milford track, they just, oh my God, people are saying, this feels like this place. I haven't seen this place in so long. I need this print. And I guess that was my own ignorance, that I hadn't appreciated that although New Zealand's a beautiful place, it's not just ours. People visit here all the time. People are part of this place. People have fond memories of this place. And it didn't even occur to me that someone not from New Zealand would have such a deep, profound love for New Zealand. And now saying that out loud, it sounds so absurd, but obviously I've grown. Anyway, guys, that is our Q&A time all complete, and I really, really appreciate you guys joining. It's been a blast. I hope the answers helped. Guys, if you didn't get your question answered, or I answered it really poorly, It's okay. Blow up my inbox and tell me that. And next time we do one of these, we'll try and do a better job. We'll revisit questions, or if you have questions before or whenever, just DM them, email them through to me, and we can answer those ones as well. Again, guys, you can remain anonymous. I'm not going to be like, oh, Jim Hashaw from Washington, D.C. says he feels insecure. No, we won't do that. We'll actually... I'll take the hit. I'll pretend it's my question. Anyway, guys, to the dads out there, happy Father's Day. I am going to go hang out with my daughter. She's just past 8 weeks. She still looks like a little infant, though. Little newborn, but apparently she's out of the newborn phase and she's an infant, I think. I think the 8 weeks are cut off, but anyway, she's a gorgeous baby girl. I'm going to go hang out with her. Thank you so much for being here with me, guys, and tolerating my waffling yarns. We're going to do more of these. These are quite fun. I feel like we dive into topics a bit deeper. But like I say, no matter where we go or what we end up doing, we'll always come back to doing live painting. So this is just a fun thing on the side too. Happy Father's Day, dads. Happy Father's Day, father figures, I should say. All the best, guys. Bye now.